Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Monifactory. Today we'll be looking at getting the LV circuit assembler, or at the very least some MV circuits here. So in between episodes I went ahead and made a basic centrifuge here, a thermal centrifuge, which is currently centrifuging the purified sphalerite needed to get gallium dust. And then I also made a steam grinder as well as the steam oven over there, and then made a basic electrolyzer and a basic cutter here. The electrolyzer, I have electrolyzing clay dust for the various outputs, kind of to start stockpiling things like aluminum dust and the like. That's one of the reasons why I made the basic steam grinder, so that I could go out and get some terracotta. We have a fairly large area here with a bunch of terracotta over to the west, so just went ahead and mined a bunch of that and got that grinding. So we've got some leftover clay dust here and a whole bunch in the drawer above, and that's all getting pulled in with an ULV conveyor here, and then the water gets sent into the fluid trash can here. One note about the issue I was having last episode with the pyrolyze oven, I was able to get the wood recipe to work. I did have to put some steam in the fluid input for the coal recipe that I was using at the end of last episode, and then I decided to log back in a little bit later that day and tried the wood recipe, and it did work. I did also confirm on the GitHub for Monifactory that there is an issue currently. The circuit 11 recipe for phenol here. Let's see here. The circuit 11 recipe here for wood is the nitrogen gas recipe, and it looks like there's a conflict here because they also put the circuit 11 without nitrogen, and that doesn't seem to work. So I think having the steam in there makes it realize that it should be using this recipe instead of attempting to run the nitrogen recipe. So that does seem to have fixed that one for the moment. So I'll probably just go with that if I need any more phenol, but I've got about 40 buckets here of it. I probably won't need any more for the foreseeable future, as I'm hoping to be able to get polyethylene up and get plastic before I run out of that, but we'll see about that. So I might tear this down here in between and just rebuild it if I happen to need it again. And then, like I said, I did create the steam oven here just so that I could cook up the various different items that I need. I went ahead and cooked up some more charcoal, as well as some of the other ores and things like that that I had doubled in the steam grinder. So I need, in the next setup of things here, here in this chapter here, I've started work on the gallium by the thermal centrifuging the sphalerite here. I will go ahead and electrolyze the sphalerite dust at the end, just to get as much of the gallium as I can out of it, but for arsenic we'll need some realgar dust. Just centrifuge the realgar dust for it, for the arsenic. You can buy realgar dust with Nomi coins. So it's kind of expensive. We'll probably go ahead and get at least one of these here. It's not too bad because you can always get more Nomi coins from the various different bounty board options, and there's usually one in there that's not too difficult and provides a decent amount of nickels and the like. So like this wooden widget one here for 10 is actually pretty decent value. It's not hard to get, so we'll probably do a couple of those here in just a little bit if we need more of the Railgar dust. So let's look at the ore processing diagram here, which is one of the nice features of a lot of GregTech packs here. So we need just the Railgar dust here and to centrifuge it for the arsenic dust. But one of the things that I like to look and see is there anything that we can get from this that we might want. In this case, thermal centrifuging it for the antimony might be something that I want to do if I'm not in too much of a hurry. Plus you do get from the grinding, the steam grinder doesn't give you the byproducts, but it will double the ore, so I'll probably at least run it through the steam grinder. I'll probably then run it through the thermal centrifuge here if I don't mind taking the time for it, just to get some of the antimony dust, because the antimony dust is necessary in soldering alloy, which is going to be useful for circuits here. And so at the moment, as much antimony dust as I can get, I'll probably take. So we'll go ahead and put the Railgar in the steam grinder and let that cook up, and then come back here in just a minute. Alright, so we've got the crushed Railgar ore, and then if I want to go ahead and run it through the thermal centrifuge, I have to purify it in an ore washer. I don't currently have an ore washer right at the moment, so the way around that is to come around out here. I've got a cauldron out here, and you can just right click on the cauldron with the ore, and as you can see, it's now purified. This works for dusts, the crushed ore, anything that you could throw through the ore washer like that can be purified in the cauldron manually. You of course don't get the output or the bonus outputs from the centrifuging or from the washing process. So it's basically the equivalent of washing them on circuit 2 in the ore washer. So, and you can get, I think, 3 stacks out of one cauldron. You can wash 3 stacks out of it before you have to refill it. So we'll let that go ahead and cook up here because we need both of those for the gallium arsenide, and then that gets us diodes, which then gets us to the tier 2 circuits. I'll probably start working here on getting the phenolic circuits created here. We've got a bunch of phenol. We just need some resin circuit boards, which I think I have some extras in here. Yep, I have a couple resin circuits, so I'll probably go ahead and throw these with the phenol into the chemical reactor here and get that started up. Alright, so I've got the resin circuits here. I had a bunch of phenol. I went ahead and just dumped it all in the 3 different tanks here, just so I didn't have to have the tank, the drum, sitting on top draining, or come back and refill it occasionally. So that will work there. And then I've also got some more rubber sheets being cooked up, and I did make some more glass tubes with a casting mold. Just put some glass into the basic extractor here, and then send it off to the side to create glass tubes here. So grab those, and I did also have in the assembly machine here, I did have some of the vacuum tubes, the ULV tier diode circuit thing, I guess. So I did have those cooking up. I think I need yep, some more copper wire in there. I kind of want to make up as much as I've got here, so I'll go ahead and throw some more of those in there. And I just want to kind of use up as much of the red alloy as I've got here, making them, because these are used for various different things. They're used for the item cards, so it won't go to waste. All of the laser I/O cards. So keep using that while we wait for the sphalerite and the railguard. I'll probably actually swap the two out here and let the railguard kind of run through since I've got a decent amount of gallium to kind of get started with. So, and then one thing I forgot to mention here about the oven is that I've made a second steam boiler here, and then have a water collector and just a drawer with sugarcane that I just manually refill as needed, but that creates the steam and goes into the steam input hatch on it. So just a little self-contained setup. I didn't want to, I'd put the steam grinder here with a buffer just because I didn't want to make a second steam boiler at the time. I might move this over next to the steam oven here at some point just to kind of free up some space over here, but just kind of didn't want to have to create the infrastructure at the time. Again, this is all temporary. It'll all get torn down and kind of rebuilt probably a couple different times. So, yep. Alright, so we've got some of the phenolic circuits, circuit boards here. To turn them into the printed circuit boards, we need some silver. There are two routes that we can go with this. We can either go with sodium persulfate or and silver foils in a chemical reactor, or we can use silver wire. Now, going the silver wire route is more expensive. If we go the chemical reactor route, I believe we cut our silver usage in half, but that does require sodium persulfate. I do have a build up on a short that kind of goes over how to create a nice little sodium persulfate build, but at the moment I don't want to go through all of that and get that set up yet. I'm kind of currently working on clearing out some of the areas. I've got an area kind of up here that I've started to clear away, and then there's an area over on that side that I've started to kind of clear out a bit. Kind of want to get some of these areas cleared out and get some more buildings built here, so that I've got a little bit more room for some kind of more purpose-built setups and the like. So I'll probably use the wire recipe here to start with, but I don't have a ton of silver ingots, so I will probably go and buy some silver ore. Probably just get 2 of those for the moment, and then stick that in the steam grinder to double it, and just go down that route. I've got, like I said, I've got a decent amount of the Moni coins, and then, like I said, there's easy way to get plenty of them from the bounty board, so you really shouldn't be too worried about using the Moni coins and the like to kind of cut out some of the grind of mining and the like. So we'll get that cooked up here and then come back once we've got that and make the printed circuit boards, and hopefully get some diodes and then get our first tier 2 circuit. One other thing that I did think of that I forgot to mention here, you might have seen, was that I did get a phytogenic insulator here set up and have it running with some rubber saplings just to generate some more of the sticky resin and the logs without having to plant. Had a bunch of trees planted over there and kind of had gotten tired of them being in the way, so I went ahead and created one of these. The phytogenic insulator is not really that expensive, just double steel plate, bucket, and redstone flux here, copper gears, not really that expensive, and it really doesn't take that much. It's just 10 RF a tick here. It's kind of slow, but you know, you just kind of let it sit and it builds up over time. You know, I might at some point here stick one of the augments in there to make it go a little bit faster, but for now that kind of works, and it's doesn't use any durability for any axes or anything like that. So alrighty, we were able to get some gallium and some arsenide here. Just need to get around to the mixer here and pop those in. That was on, let's see here. So that was on circuit 1, yep, for the gallium arsenide. So pop that in there and then we'll get that. All of the clay did make it through. We ended up with just 5 left. And then I ran the sphalerite through. I've got all of that taken care of. So ran that through and then got the rest of the arsenic out of the railgar. So there's our first gallium arsenide. So we've got that taken care of. I did make up a whole bunch of the phenolic circuit boards, so we just need the printed ones here. Let's go around here, and I did do up a bunch of the silver into silver wire. The silver itself is pretty cheap to make, so it's not really that much of an issue there to start with here. So let us go ahead and get some of these done up. Got enough for a whole stack. It's pretty nice. All right. So now for the MV circuit, we just need the diodes, which is what we need the gallium arsenide for. So to start with, looks like we can do 4 copper wire plus gallium arsenide and liquid glass, and we get 1 diode. If we had polyethylene, we'd get 2. We don't have any that are germanium dust. So it's just the liquid glass, gallium arsenide, and then we don't really have any of the... We don't have any oxygen yet. I'm not sure if I want to go ahead and set up one for oxygen yet. Probably could, but I think at the moment I will just make do with regular fine copper wire. I've got a bunch of fine copper wire here, so let me get these ingredients prepped here and figure out how much we need. And let's see here. Actually, we can do that here by... Yep, this is the recipe, so we can look at view recipe tree here, and then click on the liquid glass, and we heart the recipe that we want it to use, and now it will tell us how many glass we need. And I can just scroll this up. Say we want 16, so it's going to tell us how many of these we need. I can actually go in here and do that, and that'll tell us how many of the gallium arsenide we need. I've got 8 on me, so we can go all the way up to 32 here and use up all 8 of them. We need 32 glass and we need 128 fine copper wire. So let me grab those here and then I can get those put in the assembler. Alright, looks like the glass is finished up here, so we'll grab that in a drum and then come around to the assembler. It looks like still had a little bit of that red alloy left over in there, so I'll grab another drum, take that out, pop the items in there, and we're going with that. I'll go ahead and set these aside in the output barrel here, and then get back to those once I've got some more steel bolts and all that. So alright, we should have a couple of the diodes here cooked up, so we'll throw those in the drawer here and then see about getting the circuit assembler. So it looks like we just need the LV emitter here and then 2 of the MV circuits. So we will get just 2 for now. Go ahead and pop those back in there, and then we can make our circuit assembler. So here we are. Let's see here. I'll probably go ahead and just replace the centrifuge for the moment with the circuit assembler, and I'll find another spot for the centrifuge here in just a little bit. I'll probably, like I said, tear down the pyrolyze oven and just kind of extend things out for the moment. Technically this is only a 4 amp converter and buffer, but we're not usually using more than 3 or 4 machines at once. And like I said, I've got some areas that I'm clearing up there and over there that I will probably relocate some of these to. I'll probably relocate the pyrolyze oven to one of them, along with some other setups for like oxygen, sodium persulfate, and a few other things like that probably. But let's see here. So we will need some soldering alloy here and the like to be able to kind of use that. I think we can maybe use, we can use liquid tin, but the soldering alloy is definitely much more efficient. So I'll probably work on getting that set up here in between episodes, and then kind of gather up some of the ingredients to make up like a stack of basic electronic circuits here, and then we can make some of the MV circuits here as well in the next episode. So like I said, I'll probably get to work on that here in between episodes. But for now, thanks for watching, and remember, resistance to GregTech is futile.